Welcome. In this video, the event, Mirror Stage, of Girls Frontline will be summarized. Throughout the video, there will be spoilers for the story of Girls Frontline. If you don't want to be spoiled, please go and play the game. The event begins in a quiet pub, where Angie confronts a mysterious man who warns her of an imminent terrorist attack in Berlin, possibly orchestrated by Paradis. He insists that they are comrades working towards a shared goal, preserving Resartism, and hints that their meeting was no coincidence. Though Angie is skeptical, especially of his cryptic nature and lofty rhetoric, she agrees to look into the unrest in Berlin after he mentions a familiar figure, Leon, and a potential new weapon. Before parting, the mysterious man gives her a gold coin and promises to reveal the location of a certain mansion once her task is complete. As Angie leaves, she reflects on the encounter, sensing the weight of what's to come. Outside the pub, a young Stasi agent named Light intercepts her, prompting a brief but explosive skirmish. Despite his youth and calm demeanor, Light proves himself competent and respectful, revealing that he's there to assist her. Angie is cautious, but eventually follows him to a safe house where her dolls, AK-12, AN-94, AK-15, and RPK-16, are waiting. The team had tracked their surveillance watching them and found the hideout themselves, though not without friction. Jay, another contact, greets Angie with his usual sarcasm, confirming that Light is now in charge of aiding her. As the group settles, Angie discloses that the man she met is Griffin Lyons, possibly the Griffin of Griffin and Kruger fame, a powerful figure linked to both Zelensky and Misha. While she doesn't fully trust him, his support could be valuable. Jay, injured and disinterested in further fieldwork, hands operational control over to Light. Angie remains skeptical about the boy's qualifications, but Jay insists Light has been handling her surveillance and has already investigated leads she left behind in Bremen. Light, unshaken, reveals he has compiled full profiles on the detained conspirators, Leon, Hops, and Powell. Most shocking is the news that Leon has been released under dubious claims of mental illness and is now living comfortably in a Berlin sanatorium. Light suspects high-level interference, but hasn't identified the source. With this information, Angie asks for a detailed report, and the team agrees to continue the conversation at her apartment. Light volunteers to accompany her, while Jay bows out, declaring his work done for now. As Angie studies Light, she sees a younger version of herself in him, sharp, idealistic, and already marked by the burdens of duty. Switching over to the commander, the dolls with them encounter hostile villagers as chaos breaks out in the city they're in. Elsa, shocked to see the commander, accuses Robin of betrayal, while the commander struggles to protect Maculin from the angry crowd. The commander coordinates with Dandelion to evade the villagers, spotting the AR team under fire nearby. As the group retreats, the villagers' hostility intensifies, forcing the dolls to defend themselves amid the chaos. Meanwhile, Maculin reveals unsettling truths about the villagers' sudden aggression and the enemy's deeper plans. As the commander's squad is overwhelmed by Paradis troops as they try to push towards the city outskirts, Squad Griffin, led by Villar Perosa, arrives to provide crucial support and guidance. Perosa's team includes Derringer and Savage 99, who assist in navigating the dangerous terrain and fending off attackers. The commander and squads reach a grand weathered building protected by an intricate code lock. To enter, the commander must solve the puzzle, testing both patience and wit. After they get inside the building, a holographic image of Griffin greets the commander with warmth and insight. Griffin reveals that the woman known as Morido is actually a Paradis agent who has infiltrated their government, not to be confused with Maculin. He arranges for Captain Angela Soy, aka Angie, to join the commander, hinting at unresolved mysteries surrounding Bremen. The commander contemplates these revelations, aware that the true enemy's identity and motives remain elusive. As the dolls regroup, they face threats from within and without, including the harsh Black Knighto enforcer under the control of a ruthless girl. The Black Knighto is ordered to fulfill her mission without failure, underscoring the high stakes of the operation. The commander's group, now joined by unfamiliar dolls, push towards the city proper, avoiding enemy pursuit with Squad Griffin's help. Angie, Light, and 12 face a brutal siege as Paradeus forces relentlessly attack their position. Light selflessly transfers his ammo to 12, choosing to stay behind and draw enemy fire, while Angie and 16 attempt a desperate retreat. Despite their efforts, the enemy closes in, forcing 16 to shield Angie with her body, sustaining injuries in the process. Reinforcements arrive just in time, with 94 and 15 turning the tide and pushing back the attackers, but 12's fate remains uncertain. Outside the burning apartment block, the fire brigade and police arrive, containing the chaos but leaving the Stasi agents to slip away unnoticed. Shadowless pushes through the crowd, demanding answers, and quickly finds Jay, who is caught between his loyalty to his Stasi duties and his concern for Light. Shadowless presses Jay about Light's whereabouts, revealing tensions between them, but also a deep familial bond despite past conflicts. Angie struggles with her injuries and possibly losing 12. Griffin coldly criticizes her for engaging Paradeus too rashly and warns that the enemy's plans could cause catastrophic casualties far worse than before. Despite his harsh words, Angie remains defiant, vowing to confront the mounting danger head-on. Meanwhile, Jay prepares to move deeper into the chaos, determined to find Light and uncover the truth behind the fire. Shadowless, despite their strained relationship, shows a rare moment of support, inviting Jay to reconnect with her family after the turmoil. As the crowd buzzes with panic and curiosity, Jay forges his way through, using his forged police ID to gain access where few can go. Back with the commander, a dual access bridge is activated, and a pale yellow mist fills an underground passage where black-clothed girls hum a haunting rhyme as they walk among silent, sleeping office workers. The scene shifts to a mist-covered village where white-clothed girls chant as refugees collapse in despair, a young girl's desperate cries piercing the silence. A distorted man offers help to the girl, claiming he can awaken her sleeping parents, but forcibly separates her from her mother, condemning her to watch helplessly as a new being is created from her data. Meanwhile, two women plot in the shadows, triggering chaos in a quarantine area by releasing dangerous infected creatures and toppling a protective wall. Their mission unfolds under the watchful eyes of a powerful figure known only as Father. In a stark, clinical setting, a young woman endures harsh treatment and blood extraction while mysterious voices command her to hurry, hinting at a grim purpose behind the transfer of vital fluids. The sterile containers empty as she escapes, heading towards a disposal point where black and white clad dolls ready themselves for a covert operation to a new base. Simultaneously, whispers of betrayal and loyalty fill the air as three women discuss their missions and their allegiance to a mysterious big sister and father. The sound of high heels echoing ominously, signaling the arrival of a lethal figure determined to complete a lifelong mission. Elsewhere, Persica complains about the inconvenience of moving into cramped quarters at the base, lamenting broken equipment and poor coffee before brightening upon discovering a vending machine downstairs. She and the commander review a disturbing video linked to Maculin's virtual consciousness, speculating on the authenticity of apocalyptic memory fragments and the potential for future catastrophe. Persica theorizes that Maculin's subconscious defenses might be vulnerable during sleep, allowing others to hack into her mind, or that telepathic connections among similar beings could transmit memories. Another idea suggests Maculin might share a genetic or electromagnetic bond with Morodo, possibly as twins, explaining these shared memories and raising concerns about privacy and control. Despite these revelations, Persica remains cautious, needing DNA samples to test her hypotheses while warning the commander of the risk involved. The commander sips bitter tea as Persica updates them on troubling news. Kalina has been hospitalized with worsening symptoms of sillification, casting a shadow over their efforts. The commander silently promises to return, haunted by the weight of duty and the threat of looming apocalypse. Gray confronts Angie in her clinic. Angie tries to resist, but is paralyzed by anesthetics Gray used during surgery. Gray reveals that she replaced the real Gray, who is dead, and that she and others have infiltrated human society. Angie accuses her of following Morido's path, prompting an explosion that forces them to retreat. Gray escapes through a secret trap door, triggering an alarm and locking down the room, while Angie and her dolls pursue her to protect Leon. Earlier that day, news reports a terrorist attack destroying Galatea's medical storage facility in Berlin, ruining valuable research. Angie visits Leon, who is recovering in a sanatorium, pleading for her cooperation against Gray's plans. Angie insists that Leon's research on collapsed particles and epithelium plants, which can carry undetectable explosives, is the key to stopping Gray. Leon struggles with guilt and fear, but finally agrees to help after Angie promises protection through Stasi forces. Angie prepares to confront Gray, knowing time is running out as Gray's scheme to trigger controlled eruptions grows closer to fruition. Leon's research focuses on the timing of collapsed particle eruptions, which Gray plans to exploit to cause localized disasters. These attacks will increase ELID cases, allowing Gray to gain public trust by offering a cure and tighten her control. Angie points out Gray's manipulation and how she uses terror to further her goals, forcing Leon to face the consequences of her own work. The list of targeted locations in Berlin shows Gray's operation is already underway. Despite the danger, Angie resolves to visit Gray directly, recalling Gray's own invitation. At the heavily guarded Galatea Sanatorium, Stasi agents enforce their strict security around Leon's ward, causing tension among the staff. Leon's only visitor is 16, her loyal tactical doll bodyguard, ensuring her safety amid growing threats. Back with the commander, Narcissus threatens the quarantine wall with relentless attacks. The commander and the dolls under them engage her forces in a tense battle, narrowly avoiding fatal blows as Narcissus targets Macklin, whose memories predict the wall's destruction. Despite Macklin's fear that destiny is fixed, the commander insists the fate can be changed and promises to protect her from the tragic future. As Narcissus retreats, the team recovers but remains wary of the threat she represents. The team then arrives in Bonsdorf, a quiet village seemingly abandoned and vulnerable, where Paradeus' influence looms. Macklin insists on accompanying the squad despite concerns about a recognition provoking panic. Inside Elia's manor, they discover an altar stacked with explosives containing collapsed particles, radiation bombs the villagers are willing to detonate on themselves. Elia, driven mad by loyalty to Paradeus, activates the bombs, forcing the dolls to act quickly to save the remaining villagers from a catastrophic fate. The explosions transform the village into a burning wasteland, with survivors showing horrifying signs of ELID infection. As chaos spreads, Macklin collapses under the weight of the disaster, but is revived by Elsa, a suffering villager whose body is ravaged by ELID. Macklin's desperate attempt to comfort Elsa by sharing her blood reveals her determination to save those affected, despite overwhelming odds. The commander watches helplessly, knowing their mission grows ever more perilous in the face of self-destructive desperation and the creeping collapse of human resistance. Star voices doubts that the commander's survival instincts, suspecting the enemy manipulates their every move. The grim events force Macklin to confront the painful reality of her visions and the uncertain nature of destiny. She vows to reveal everything she knows to the commander, signaling a fragile hope amid the devastation. Meanwhile, the dolls remain vigilant as they navigate through the devastated village, struggling to contain the fallout and prevent further loss. 15 faces off against 16, who grins with cruel confidence while holding the injured Angie tightly. Despite losing her right arm, 15 refuses to back down, using her remaining hand to draw a combat knife and attack. Gray, wielding deadly claws on her hands, slices through 15's arm and watches with pity as 15 withstands the brutal assault, even impaling Gray's arm in return. 16 tries to shoot 15 to stop her, but the doll's fury only grows, and she manages to snatch Angie from Gray's grasp, crashing through a wall to escape. Gray and 16 exchange wary words acknowledging 15's surprising strength and cunning as she fights through exhaustion to protect Angie. 15 moves swiftly, kicking aside a Strelet as she tries to get Angie to safety, though her body is nearly breaking. She sets Angie down carefully and prepares to face 2 Naito blocking her path, one white, one black. Borrowing a Naito's scythe, 15 fights with ferocity, stunning the white Naito and then using the scythe's momentum to overwhelm the black one. Just as she clears the path, she turns and realizes Angie has vanished. Suddenly, 16 taunts her from behind, while Gray surprises 15 by holding her impaled on her tail. Gray admires 15's resilience, acknowledging her as the most formidable doll she's faced, and hints at her own obsession with Soviet technology. 16 mentions another doll on Task Force Defy who once defeated 15 in combat, hinting at deeper layers to the conflict. 15's fury reignites when 16 cruelly picks up the injured Angie, who protests desperately. Though 15 wields the scythe, she struggles against her captors, trapped and unable to protect her partner. Gray advances, claws gleaming with deadly intent, preparing for a final strike. Just as Gray moves to finish 15, a gunshot suddenly echoes, halting her attack. The moment hangs heavy, charged with raw desperation and the flicker of hope that someone intervenes. 15's endurance and determination are pushed to their limits, fighting not only for survival, but for Angie's life. Macklin and the commander draw near the exit, sharing a moment of hope and relief. However, their escape is cut short when a sinister version of Macklin emerges, impaling her with mechanical limbs. The doppelganger mocks Macklin in her final moment, and despite her pain, Macklin reaffirms her humanity and looks to the commander one last time before dying. The commander is left devastated as Morido appears, joined by the unhinged Narcissus. Paraday's forces close in, and the AR team is quickly overwhelmed with no signs of escape or reinforcement. Dandelion admits defeat, while the commander and the team brace themselves for a hopeless final stand. Star, Sop, and RO each face death in their own ways, but they stand united before the enemy. Morido, gloating, confirms her plan's success and orders the execution of all but Nemagen. Just as the Paradise forces prepare to strike, a voice breaks through the static on comms. UMP-45 has disabled the jammers. With restored access, Dandelion turns the tide, seizing control of the enemy units and forcing them into disarray. The tables begin to turn until Narcissus unleashes a devastating counterattack, wiping out most of her own troops to prevent their betrayal. Morido remains unfazed, revealing this outcome was anticipated, and Dandelion, now seemingly unresponsive, is mocked for her failure. The commander and the team reel in frustration, and Morido desecrates Macklin's body to provoke them further. Just as all seem lost, Dandelion speaks again, her eyes now glowing with new purpose. The AR team recognize her immediately. M4A1 has returned, taking control of Dandelion's body to face the enemy once more. Elsewhere, Squad Puzzle completes their grueling training exercise and celebrates their hard-won success. As they bask in the moment, they receive a mysterious video message featuring a girl in white introducing herself as Macklin. Though none of them recognize her, her gentle demeanor and hopeful words strike a chord. She speaks of her fear for the future, but also of finding meaning and hope through her unseen connection to the Griffin team. As the screen freezes on her smile, the dolls are left to wonder about the girl who speaks so sincerely of a future none of them have yet. Thank you for watching. Please follow my Twitter and Blue Sky for updates, and please check out my other Arknights and Azure Lane videos as well.